Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Monday, January 29th, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about Monday Night Raw. Alright, let's get things off talking about the CM Punk in-ring promo. So, it was reported by Mike Johnson, a PWI insider, that CM Punk suffered a torn tricep during the men's Royal Rumble match. And tonight, CM Punk confirmed that was the case. Mike Johnson does report that Punk will likely need 4 to 6 months of recovery and physical therapy. So that means that he is missing WrestleMania. So CM Punk came out, and he came out with a sling on his arm. He said it's not about what you deserve, it's about what you earned. And he congratulated Cody, and he said that he hopes Cody finishes the story at WrestleMania, and that he's never believed in luck, but he feels a little bit unlucky. I mean, I can understand why he feels that way. I mean, he just came back to WWE at Survivor Series. He's wrestled at house shows, and the Royal Rumble was his first, televised match, and he goes and he gets injured. So I can understand. Now we can hold off on Seth versus Punk, and Punk versus Stone Cold won't happen. Yeah, exactly. So we're definitely not getting that WrestleMania Night 1 main event we were going to get. Punk confirms that he tore his right tricep, and as much as he asked, maybe he could make the Elimination Chamber. It's not on the cards and doesn't want anyone to feel sorry for him. I mean, during this, you could tell CM Punk was speaking from the heart because he was just in tears. He got watery. You could tell this meant the world to him. He talks about how it was his goal, his dream ever since he was a kid to main event WrestleMania. And he brings up a friend of his named Chad who has cancer, but it's always in a good mood and is never down about it. He makes a note that his injury is just a flesh wound, and he says he's the best in the world. And he brings up his time in UFC, which it's not always about whether he wins. It scared him to come back after 10 years to a place he never wanted to live in. This is just a bump in the road. He talks about how the people who help others are the ones who are the best in the world, and for some reason, the fans love him. He says that this is adversity, and he's overcome it in the past, and every single day people wake up and keep going. WrestleMania is 40, is not on the cards. He's a Chicago Cubs fan, and won't be the last time he says this. He says there's always next year. So with that, it is CM Punk himself is confirming that he is missing WrestleMania, which is unfortunate. And I feel so bad, not only for him, but for Seth Rollins, because both of them have worked. Well, Seth Rollins has worked really hard to get the opportunity to main event WrestleMania, and he went and he got an MCL tear. And CM Punk just came back. He was going to get his opportunity to main event WrestleMania, and it just got taken away from him because he re-injured his tricep. So it just sucks. So now the question is, where do we go from here? Now, Drew McIntyre interrupts, and he talks about how he said some terrible things about CM Punk, and he meant every single thing that he said. But while he was listening to CM Punk, he couldn't relate. He could relate to his friend Chad, and that he targeted Punk as soon as he got into the Rumble because he couldn't let Punk win. Rollins hurt, Punk's hurt. What's going on here? I feel like WrestleMania is going to feel like 32 when they had all those injuries happen at all the time. Yeah, it kind of does feel that way. McIntyre says that when he heard the news, he slept like a baby. He says that Punk won the battle but didn't win the war. Now, this irritates CM Punk, and he says that when he gets back, after, aside from headlining WrestleMania, he's going to go after Drew McIntyre. McIntyre says he's going to find a way to WrestleMania and take Punk's dream from him again. Drew was such a savage. I love it. Yeah, he was. To add insult to injury, Drew McIntyre cheap shot at CM Punk, and he stepped on his injured tricep. Ow. That had to hurt. And Sami Zayn, he came out to help CM Punk and helped to get back on his feet. So this reminded me of the Cody Seth Rollins segment after Hell in a Cell. You guys remember when after Cody Rhodes got injured, tore his pec, the next night on Raw, Seth Rollins came out and attacked him and they wrote him off. So I feel like with this is going to be Punk's rivalry when he gets back. I like this McIntyre. He was a savage in the segment. Yes, he was. So this is going to be I feel like this is going to be CM Punk's rivalry when he gets back from this injury. I don't think he's going to go with Seth Rollins right away. He'll probably feud with Drew and then slowly make his way back to Seth Rollins. It honestly would not surprise me if CM Punk does win next year's Royal Rumble. So, but this was a great opening segment. This was fantastic. I really loved this segment. Drew McIntyre, like you guys said, was a freaking savage. I think maybe the match will take place at SummerSlam. I don't know. I think Drew versus Punk will happen at SummerSlam, assuming I haven't heard anything about Drew McIntyre re-signing. So if he's still with the company, that's definitely going to happen. So while we're on the subject of WrestleMania, let's jump ahead and talk about this Cody Rhodes promo because it ties into what I was going to mention. So Cody gets the "You Deserve It" chance, and he says he has something to say in response to his own question. That's right, he still hasn't re-signed. No, he hasn't. So we have to wait and see what goes on there. Like Cody also gets emotional during this promo because he talks about how we will never know how much he needed us, the fans. And like he gets interrupted by Seth frickin' Rollins. And basically Rollins says that they develop mutual respect for one another. He congratulates him. Now he starts talking about how it'll be a mistake if Cody Rhodes picks Roman Reigns and he should fight him instead, because like Rollins said that he watched the press conference and talks about how, with all due respect, Cody and Reigns are not the guy he is. He talks about how he made that title, the World Heavyweight title, the Workhorse title. He says that they don't need to pretend that Reigns is untouchable. They don't need Roman Reigns. Basically, Rollins says that the fans are getting tired of Roman, which is true. He talks about how if he wants the Hogan title, the title that people politic their way to the top. And he wants Cody to think about this and wants to know what's there in there. So he points to like Cody's chest. Rollins just made the world title more valuable with that promo. Yes, he did. And Cody says that he has an insane amount of respect for Rollins, and he says he'll think about it. So I like this, but I kind of also disliked it too. Seth Rollins did bring up a lot of great points, and I think he's absolutely right. I don't want another match between them. Cody versus Roman is a way to go have Cody win the title and end Roman's undefeated streak and have Cody finish the story. I was just about to mention that. Well, Seth Rollins did make a lot of great points. The one thing I dislike about this is I hope they keep having Cody to guest the next few weeks. What I dislike about this is that Cody said he'll think about it. And I feel like I don't think that was necessary. I know some people have mentioned this on Twitter. I think Gerard from Body Slam mentioned this. He said that it would have been great if like Cody added everything that Ron said. That's the reason why he wants to face Roman, so he could legitimize that title, make it a workhorse title. So I kind of didn't like the fact that they said that Cody said he'll think about it, because I think it's still pretty obvious it's going to be Cody versus Roman night 2. The question is, who does Seth Rollins face at night 1 now that CM Punk is injured? And is Seth Rollins even going to make it to WrestleMania since he himself is injured? Honestly, I wouldn't mind Gunther. Like, Gunther's an acceptable a suitable opponent for Seth Rollins. You could do, since WWE's having a habit of rewriting their history books, why not rewrite WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Challenge? When you had the Ultimate Warrior as Intercontinental Champion versus Hulk Hogan as a WWF Champion. Why not redo that with Seth Rollins and Gunther? I wouldn't mind that. Unless it's Seth versus Cody night 1 and Cody versus Roman night 2. I don't think so. I think that would defeat the purpose. Another thing I personally would mind was during the Elimination Chamber, because we all know now the Elimination Chamber is going to be for the Raw side. At least I think that's what they're planning. I wouldn't mind if LA Knight switches brands and goes over to Raw and faces Seth Rollins for that world title. That's another acceptable opponent for me, at least. But yeah, Gunther would be a good opponent. Gunther wins the World Heavyweight Championship and then drops the IC title. Gunther holding both belts would be an awesome scene. Seth versus Gunther title for title would be epic in a match that would be hard to call. Yes, exactly. So yeah, those were my two suitable opponents for Seth Rollins. And if Drew McIntyre does resign, you could even do Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins in there. Another one I wouldn't mind. But what about you guys? Who do you guys think would make the perfect opponent for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, especially since now that CM Punk is injured and Rollins versus Punk is not happening? LA Knight, next opponent will be Logan Paul. He will be in the US title picture. Okay, that might be so, but with it's Punk being injured, I can dream, can I? Like have LA Knight, enter the Elimination Chamber and go on to face Seth freaking Rollins for that title. I wouldn't mind that. So, but aside from that, this was a good promo. I just kind of dislike the fact that Cody said he would think about it, because I think that they're trying to make us think that there's a possibility it's going to be Seth versus Cody, but I don't think there is a slight chance it's going to be Seth versus Cody. I definitely do think it's going to be Cody versus Roman night 2 and Seth versus night 1, since Punk is out with an injury. Okay. So, after the CM Punk promo, we get Judgment Day watching backstage, and realizes that tonight is about sending a message that wasn't sent at Rumble, and this leads into a tag team title match. It is Judgment Day in the form of Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus DIY. Seth versus Almost Night 1. LOL. Don't put that evil out there, Ricky Bobby. Next question is, who will Bayley face? And I will get to that when we get to Bayley's segment. So, like, the Judgment Day versus DIY, I thought this was a really great match. Like, I actually really enjoyed this match. Like, Ciampa took a lot of the hits here. Like, he got a scissors kick, a leg drop. He got talked trash to by Damian Priest. He got an elbow by Finn Balor. He got another leg drop. So, he took a lot of beatings during this. It's a very good match. Crowd was so into this match. Yeah, they definitely were into it. So, Judgment Day wins. They retain their titles. And afterwards, they cut a promo where they basically, caught R-Truth out into the ring. And, Truth starts talking about how he relocated Priest's cash for crypto and liquidated Priest's assets. And Truth says that Judgment Day is like family, cause Priest's older brother. I'm gonna look that up. I think R-Truth is like older than Damian Priest. Let me see. R-Truth is just turned 53, and Damian Priest is, I think, younger. Let me see. Yeah, he's way younger. Truth says that Damian Priest is like an older brother, which is hilarious. And like Damian Priest says that he likes Truth and he doesn't like that he has to do this, and he basically orders Dominic to attack Truth, but it's actually JD that attacks R-Truth, and the Miz comes out to save R-Truth, and basically Judgment Day attacks the Miz. Truth doesn't even look his age. That's true. He doesn't. Now, I'm starting to think that maybe R-Truth beating the Judgment Day is going to... I feel like this is kind of playing out exactly like the Sami Zayn Bloodline storyline, only a slightly different. R-Truth is the Judgment Day's Sami Zayn here, and the Miz is R-Truth's Kevin Owens here. I think maybe they're going to the whole point of this is to have Awesome Truth take those tag titles off of Damian Priest and Finn Balor. But Truth being in Judgment Day is so inconsistent. They should have had Truth be in there for a while, kind of like Sami Zayn was with the Bloodline, and then you do the slow turn, and then you reunite the awesome Truth. I feel like they're just going back and forth. Like, I know that the whole point is, oh, R-Truth thinks he's in Judgment Day, but you should have just had him in Judgment Day and then done this. It's going to be awesome Truth versus either member of the Judgment Day. R-Truth deserves a Mania match after the great stuff he's done. Exactly, he does deserve a Mania match. But again, what do we do with the tag titles? So I still think, in my personal opinion, they should split up the tag titles. Like, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Roman got a new belt. Rhea Ripley got a new belt. Asuka, when she was champion, got a new belt. Seth freaking Rollins got a new belt. Why haven't Finn and Damien got a new belts? Why haven't we split up the tag titles yet? Truth Mania will run wild. That is true, they will. So, what's going to happen with the tag titles? Are we going to have undisputed tag team titles forever? I mean, if we do, we need new tag belts. But I do think it might be the Awesome Truth versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor for those tag titles. We only need one tag team belt, and it needs to float on both brands. The problem with that is that Judgment Day spends the majority of their time on Raw. I can't remember the last time they even went to SmackDown. That's the problem with that. Is like, I wouldn't mind one tag team title belt if they were consistent with the, maybe you do one feud here on Raw, then you go over to SmackDown, do another feud over there, come back to Raw, or do something where you can have the tag team champions interacting with everybody, because Damian Priest and Finn Balor spent all of their time on Raw. I can't remember the last time they were on SmackDown. Truth will cost Damian his Money in the Bank shot, I betcha. Probably. I don't think Damian Priest is going to cash in until they lose those tag titles. They did back in the day where the tag belts were floating on both brands. It's not hard to do now. It's not hard to do. But again, the problem is that they don't go to SmackDown enough. They spend all their time on Raw. It's easy to do if you book it correctly. You can have the titles float between Raw and SmackDown. Let's say, okay, another way you could have done it, you could have had a Raw feud leading up to Royal Rumble. After Royal Rumble, have a SmackDown feud leading to Elimination Chamber. Then, after Elimination Chamber, do Raw and SmackDown leading up to WrestleMania. But, they spend all their time on Raw. I don't remember the last time they were on SmackDown. We get Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. If WWE is serious about tag team on wrestling on both shows, then yeah, split the belts. Exactly. Split the belts, and we need new belts. This match was alright. It wasn't too bad. The women were gonna have a hard time to follow Judgment Day versus DIY, and it's not their fault. It's not. I think Chelsea Green is great, but my issue with this was that why is Shayna Baszler still in a tag team? Like, I wanted her to feud with Rhea Ripley. The history is there. Like I said before, they feuded in NXT Black and Gold. Rhea Ripley took the NXT title off of Shayna Baszler. There's your history. It's right there. Why is Shayna Baszler still in a tag team? Samantha's intro for Chelsea is back. Yay. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. So, I'm not a fan of them once again sticking Shayna Baszler in the tag team. It's like they just don't want to give Shayna Baszler a singles run. So, I don't know what's up with that. Let me see. Samantha. I like Samantha's intro for Chelsea Green. We get a quick Kofi Kingston promo. Now, he's talking about his match with Gunther. He talks about how he's still on Cloud 9 because of what they did to Imperium last week. Shayna's been on the main roster for 4 years now. No singles win, right? Exactly. She should have defeated Becky Lynch during WrestleMania, but that didn't happen. I just really don't understand why they don't give her a singles run. Kofi makes it a point to say that when everybody... thinks about the New Day, they think about the pancakes, the burritos, the ice cream, but one of the things they forget is, and it's the most important thing, the fact that they win championships and that tonight he will beat Gunther for that IC title, which, I'll talk about that when I get there. They have no faith in Shayna. Probably not. Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed. This match wasn't a bad match. Bronson Reed was bulldozed through poor Jey Uso at the beginning. Let me see. I did like the fact that Jey sent Bronson Reed to the outside and sent him into the barricade. It's no surprise Jey Uso won. He won with the Uso splasher. Jey Uso does want to win his first singles gold. I honestly think that Jey Uso will probably win singles gold before Shayna Baszler wins singles gold at the rate these things are going. So we get an Andrade segment and we find out that he's been signed to Raw. Now, I know Charlotte's on SmackDown, but since she's out with an injury, I feel like putting him on Raw for right now works. But when Charlotte gets back, he'll either get sent to SmackDown or she'll get sent to Raw. So Nick Aldis interrupts, and basically Adam Pearce introduces Nick Aldis to, quote, one of the biggest free agents, a former NXT champion and a former US champion. And I'm really digging this rivalry between Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. I wonder if we'll get Team Nick Aldis versus Team Adam Pearce at Survivor Series this year. Or maybe we might just get Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce. Nick Aldis congratulates Andrade and tells him SmackDown also had a good contract for him. Andrade tells Nick Aldis to say hello to Zelina for him. So, Zelina Vega used to manage Andrade before they split him up and before Andrade left the WWE. No lie, I kind of thought that he was going to get sent to SmackDown right away because I feel like he fits with the LWO storyline, especially since Santos Escobar and him had that moment in the Royal Rumble. Andrade should have been signed to SmackDown, but Braun Breaker's going to be signed to SmackDown. Love the GM's feuding. Reminds me of Bischoff versus Teddy Long. Yeah, that definitely does remind me of that. So, Nick Aldis is kind of like, what the hell? Because he let Adam Pearce borrow Bayley for the night. Makes it a point to say that both Rumble winners are there. And basically, Pearce tells Aldis that it's just business and that they wanted to discuss the chamber when Nick Aldis' phone rings and ends up being Braun Breaker. So that's interesting. Maybe Braun Breaker, like Michael says, maybe Braun Breaker goes to SmackDown. So we have to wait and see. But Braun Breaker did a really good job during the Royal Rumble. So it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to the main roster. I know he's currently in NXT teaming with Baron Corbin and they're in the Dusty Classic. So we'll see. Now we have a Gunther promo, which basically is a response to what Kofi Kingston had to say earlier in the night. And he makes it a point to say that it's good that Kofi challenged him because tonight it's the biggest fight of Kofi's career. And he says that Kofi's going to be fighting for his name, legacy, and every accomplishment he's ever made. And that the night is going to be something that Kofi remembers for the rest of his life. And Gunther with a huge smirk on his face. He just has this smirk. Says that after tonight, he will forget about Kofi. And he gives Kofi some advice to leave it all out there in the ring because when he's done with him, no one will be speaking about him anymore. And he'll carry on being the longest reigning and greatest intercontinental heavyweight champion of all time and wishes Kofi good luck. Gunther is just so good. See, that's why I don't have a problem if it ends up being Seth freaking Rollins versus Gunther at WrestleMania Night 1. We get a quick little Becky Lynch interview, and she basically says she wants to take the title back to the main event where it belongs. So I wouldn't surprise me if they do a women's chamber. Becky Lynch wins, and she ends up facing Rhea at WrestleMania. We get the Intercontinental title match, Gunther versus Kofi Kingston. This was a really great match. I mean, Kofi Kingston took a beating here. He got a backbreaker, a Boston Crab, a sleeper. But, Kofi fought back. He did a drop kick, a knee to the face. This was a really great match. Great showing by Kofi Kingston. It wasn't meant to be. Gunther won after he hit the power bomb to Kofi Kingston. And then, Xavier Woods came out to check on Kofi, and then Kaiser and Vinci attacked them. Xavier Woods got double teamed by Vinci and Kaiser and got sent into the ring post. So I still think this has to be leading to something. Maybe the return of Big E. Maybe it'll be Big E versus Gunther. Maybe. That's assuming they don't do Gunther versus Rollins now that Punk is injured. But this has to be leading to something. And I'm digging this feud. I don't want to get my hopes up and think that, it's going to lead to the return of Big E. But I'm definitely leading to a big blowout match. That's for sure. So we get a quick Sami Zayn interview. Big E, fingers crossed. Yeah, I think it might lead to Big E. But like I said, I don't want to get my hopes up that it's going to lead to Big E. Maybe Big E will return on WrestleMania, and that will be Gunther's opponent. I wouldn't mind that. But if they do Big E versus Gunther, again, who does Rollins face at WrestleMania? Drew McIntyre? I guess as we get closer, we'll find out. A Big E return would be the literal feel good moment of the year. Yes, it will. I agree. We get a Sami Zayn interview, and he's basically talking about how Drew McIntyre needs a reality check, and he will give him one tonight. We get the Kabuki Warriors versus Natalia and Tegan Nox. This was a decent match, and I must say, I'm so happy that the Kabuki Warriors finally are tag team champions, and Damage Control basically holds all the gold, as they should have been from the beginning. So it's no surprise the Kabuki Warriors win here. I'm really surprised that they didn't do an angle with Tegan Nox and Nattie, especially because Tegan Nox tried to eliminate Nattie from the Royal Rumble. We also find out that Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are going to get the rematch next week. So Bayley is supposed to cut a promo. She comes out, and all of Damage Control is in the ring. And one thing that I noticed that actually kind of caught my attention was the fact that Dakota Kai wasn't wearing her leg brace anymore, which I thought was interesting because, she's had that leg brace on for a while, and this is the first time I see her without it. So does that mean that pretty soon Bayley's going to get the Edge treatment? So in this promo, she starts talking about how this was that when was the last time you saw the Royal Rumble winner, the WWE Women's Champion, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion standing all in the ring together? The answer is never. It's never been done before, and it's all thanks to her. She said Dakota is cleared. Oh, really? Okay, I missed that. I did not know she was cleared. She talks about how everybody thought that her idea of Damage Control was going to flop. I mean, not that it wasn't a flop, but their booking did not help them at all. I still really when Becky Lynch took out Damage Control 3-on-1, yeah, that didn't sit well with me. It's just their booking did not do them any favors. I would say that. The evolution on Orton beatdown is coming to Bayley. Yeah, it's definitely coming. All right, it's not official, but without her knee brace, it looks like she might be cleared. Oh, probably. So she says that she beat Rhea's record of 63 minutes, and I think she said 3 seconds or 30 seconds. I didn't catch the seconds. I just caught the 63 minutes. Now, Rhea comes out. Before she can even say much, she gets attacked by Nia Jax. And Damage Control is just looking on, watching Nia Jax beat on Rhea Ripley. And forgive me for the car alarm. It's outside. Rhea versus Nia Jax at Elimination Chamber for the Women's World Championship. That's exactly where I think this is going. Again, forgive me for the car alarm. It's outside. Okay. All right. So yeah, so she gets attacked by Rhea Ripley, by Nia Jax, and Damage Control is just watching. And like Michael said, Rhea versus Nia Jax at the Elimination Chamber for the Women's World Championship. I think that's exactly where this is going. Rhea Ripley's gonna face Nia Jax in her home country of Australia. And I honestly would not mind, and I'm pretty sure Rhea Ripley's going to main event that pay-per-view. She should, especially if Seth Rollins is not going to be there, CM Punk's not going to be there. Honestly, wouldn't mind if Rhea Ripley main events that. That's her home country. She deserves that main event spot. So I don't think Nia Jax is winning. I don't think she's beating Rhea in Australia unless they want Nia Jax to get severely booed. She's not beating Rhea. Now, one interesting thing that did happen here is that Damage Control left Bayley all alone in the ring with Nia Jax. They left her in there while they all went outside. She says, "Poor Australia, no star is coming." That's, yeah. I don't know how they're going to sell at that same. I think Roman Reigns is going to have to work Elimination Chamber now. And basically, Nia Jax tells Bayley that Rhea is making it to WrestleMania. And Bayley says she's going to make her announcement on SmackDown. Now, when she says this, Io Sky kind of like looks down because maybe she thinks that Bayley's going to announce her. So I really think that on SmackDown, that's when they're going to turn on Bayley. She's definitely going to, it's going to be Bayley versus Io Sky, with Bayley being a babyface for like the first time since like, what, 2020, I think? No, 2019 maybe. But that's what this is leading to. She's going to get kicked out. She's going to choose Io. Rhea is facing Becky and Mania. Definitely. I think that's the way they're going. So before the main event, Drew McIntyre talks about how he's beaten Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn hasn't been able to beat him, and they've had countless of matches. Now we get Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre in the main event. This wasn't a bad match. The thing I like about it is that, like, the way that Drew McIntyre won here, it seemed like he inadvertently gave Sami Zayn a low blow as he was attempting to do the haluva kick. He took advantage of that and did the Claymore and ended up winning the main event. It wasn't a bad match. We've seen this match before. I just feel like it wasn't as strong as a main event as, like, Gunther versus Kofi Kingston, but I get why this main evented. Now, with that being said, I actually really enjoyed tonight's Raw. There wasn't too much I disliked about it, but it was not a Shawn Spears perfect 10 out of 10, if you ask me. I would have to give it an 8 out of 10. And the reason why, like I said earlier, I didn't really like the fact that Cody said he would think about it. He should have just shot back with that all the reasons that Seth Rollins did are the reasons why he's going after Roman Reigns. Wasn't a huge fan of Nia Jax attacking Rhea Ripley. Just shout out to Jordynne Grace getting that Raw publicity. Yes, Jordynne Grace, the TNA Knockouts champion. She got some publicity on Raw, which could only do wonders for her and for TNA. I'm so happy for her and for TNA. So I'm hoping it leads to AJ Styles finally showing up to TNA, get that dream match with Josh Alexander. 8 out of 10, good show, and it made the Rumble as a whole show very forgettable. Yeah, I definitely liked Raw a lot better than the Royal Rumble itself. Another thing I kind of disliked was the whole Judgment Day R-Truth stuff. Like, I feel like they put the trigger on that way too fast. Could have kept going with that. But it wasn't a bad Raw. 8 out of 10 as well. What did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? What would you guys rank it on the scale from 1 to a Shawn Spears perfect 10? NXT review tomorrow, maybe. I'm going to try to do a review depending on it. It'll probably be on the West Coast time. But I'm going to watch NXT Vengeance Day because I was a part of the deal. So, yeah, that's that. Oh, Alrighty then. Well, with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. Let me see. Io says the next few weeks should be interesting. I definitely do agree. They should definitely be interesting. Please help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I only need 41 more subs to get to 1,000. Please help me get there. I'm currently on the road, and if I don't see you guys tomorrow for NXT, I definitely will see you guys Wednesday after Dynamite. Bye.